So, we look like we're ready. But this is day one. It's about the work. And I've said that from day one. It'll always be the same message. It's about work. You got to go earn your right every year. It doesn't matter what the players are, the coaches, expectations, where you were, where you're going. We got to work, man.
Wants to throw it to Stewart. He caught it. He Stewart with a first down. Oh, yes. The big man dives down to the 31-yard line. Oh, that is beautiful.
Let me tell you something. I love this team now. I got goosebumps, gentlemen. I love this team.
Fields looking, pressured, hit from behind, taken down. Aiden Hutchinson got him.
What do you think about the secondary?
Just look at the name, C.J. Gardner-Johnson. You drafted Branch.
It started off with that huge hit on Beasley.
McCollum bends out. There's a big hit right away. And boom!
Touchdown, Detroit Lions. Amon-Ra St. Brown. Goff dropped it in the bucket that time.
We're in our window now to win.
Aaron Rodgers exits the NFC North as a loser.
Here we go. All right, Detroit Lions fans. What an amazing Thursday night kickoff, premier showdown, Chiefs, Arrowhead, gritty performance. It was not pretty, but the Lions gutted it out, and that's exactly what they did last season. They started off the same exact way as they finished. I don't even really know what to talk about as to what just happened, what we just witnessed. The Detroit Lions just took down the Super Bowl champs for 2022. Are you kidding me right now? Did we just witness that? I know what else we witnessed. And we witnessed a lot of homerish type refereeing. And I'm not even going to go there. I'm not going to go too deep with it. But my goodness, those tackles were lining up, a solid foot or so behind the center. And false starts almost every single play, holding almost every single play. And the Lions rose above it. They kept fighting. They kept battling. And they kept playing the gritty football that they always do. This is a different team, Lions fans. I think we're on to something, for this season. And we're going to witness more of this as this season gets going. But I want to go over some of the stats. I had a pretty good night tonight with my predictions that I put out in the last podcast on Wednesday night. And I also emailed them to my co-hosts just so everybody knows that they were legit. I know that Jeremy Finch was asking me in one of the chats, if it was legit, wants me to email it to him next time. So Jeremy, if you're watching, send me your email. I will email you my predictions every week, sir. I promise you. Now, don't go betting on them because, look, sometimes I'm gifted, but I'm not that gifted. But let's get into some of my predictions of what happened tonight. Did the Lions get into, the 4-2-5 defense? They absolutely did. And I felt like they played better when they were in that defense. Why was James Houston sidelined most of the night and not able to get loose? Makes no sense to me. But when he was able to do what James Houston does, he was able to get pressure. We did not see Gibbs get real crazy in the passing game. And that's really what I expected tonight, especially after watching the offense in a few training sessions this year and reading and hearing everything about what Gibbs can do. But I'll tell you what, man, the guy is lightning quick. I think we got a decent taste tonight of what he's going to bring to the table this season. And this is just the beginning. This is just week one. And I bet that Ben Johnson probably emptied the playbook tonight, or at least a little bit. So, he's going to have to recoup and retool for next, in 10 days or so for the next game and see what he does next. But some of my predictions, I had Goff throwing for 314 yards and 3 TDs. Well, we know that didn't happen. He threw for 253 and 1 TD. But here's the biggest key of the night. 0 interceptions by Goff. There was plenty of opportunities for it. He threw, some batted balls. He threw some balls into some bad coverage, but he lucked out and he finished the night with no interceptions, continuing his streak from week 9 of last season. David Montgomery, I had Monty going for 65 yards on the ground and a touchdown, and he went for 74 yards in the TD, so pretty darn close. I was only off by 9 yards or so. I had Jahmyr Gibbs getting the brunt of the work tonight with 75 yards on the ground, but he only put in 42. He did not get us a TD on the ground or by air, so I failed there. I had Monty scoring 1 on the ground. I'm sorry. I had Gibbs scoring 1 on the ground and 1 through the air, and he did neither. So I failed on Gibbs, but you know what? Rookies, it is what it is, and until they get established, you just don't know what they're going to do. But what we expected out of Monty coming into this game, like I said, I thought he was going to put 65 on the ground and 22 by air. He put 74 on the ground with 1 TD. And I don't see any stat lines for him in the receiving category, and I'm not real sure. I thought he caught at least 1 out of the backfield. But moving forward here, Brown, I had him going 6 for 76, and he went 6 for 71. I also had Brown scoring a TD, and he got a TD. I mean, that's as tight as they get when you make a call and a prediction on somebody, and that one was only 5 yards off. So I'm happy with that one. Sam Laporta. I had Sam Laporta going 4 for 37 with a TD. Laporta went 5 for 39. So he got an extra catch in there and just a little bit shy of my prediction of 37. He finished with 39. So again, that's pretty tight call there with what Laporta was going to do. I did expect for him to get a TD. He was held out of the end zone. But again, I think we saw something out of Laporta tonight that we're going to be happy about coming, in the future here with future games, that he's going to be able to produce for this Detroit Lions offense. And as he gets more comfortable, as they get past, all of these first game jitters and come off of this high that, they just beat the Super Bowl champs from a season ago, I think that he'll settle in nicely and he's going to be a great producer for this offense for the rest of the season. Josh Reynolds. I did not have Reynolds doing much of anything tonight, and he led the Lions offense with 4 catches for 80 yards. Some of the biggest plays tonight happened down the stretch when the Lions needed it most. He was targeted 7 times. Amon-Ra was the most targeted with 9 targets. But I had Reynolds only getting 3 for 35, and again, he finished 4 for 80. He was held out of the end zone, but he had a phenomenal night tonight. Down the stretch when we need these guys to produce and get those first downs and keep that momentum going, that's where he came up big tonight. So I'd like to know, who was your player of the game on offense and defense tonight? For me, I'm probably going to have to go. I got to stick with my guy, Amon-Ra. I mean, he made the plays early. He got us on the board quickly. And the defense had to scheme, against him quite a bit to try to keep him out of the game. And I think he's earned the right to get player of the game tonight for the offense. Jared Goff did what he did. He kept the offense moving forward and made some good plays and was able to command the huddle and command the line and not allow the Arrowhead Stadium, to cause a bunch of false starts tonight. I think they only had 1. And that's an incredible feat in and of itself. Only having 1 false start in the opening night in Arrowhead Stadium, being the Detroit Lions, as a heavy underdog by just about every single analyst out there but us. And of course, the rest of us Lions fans that knew that the Detroit Lions were coming into this season ready to be different and get rid of that same old Lions moniker that should be thrown in the trash and burned by now. But Jared Goff, I mean, he's the runner-up. He kept that offense, in the game. And I think that he orchestrated a pretty good game. There's just a lot of weird passes and some things that I'm sure he'd love to have back. But, it's first game jitters too. These guys had like 0 preseason work. So you're going to have a lot of bugs to get out. And I think they got a lot of them out tonight. There was some times where I thought that this game was going to slip away. And when the offense kept sputtering out, or, when the Chiefs seemed to get away with a lot of penalties that weren't getting called, I really thought that the game was going to slip away. But these Lions dug in, They anchored and they pivoted and they kept pushing forward down the field, and that's what we want to see. As far as the defense, man, this defense, they came up big in the end. They were getting a little sketchy there towards the middle of the game, especially in the second quarter and into the third quarter. But they found a way to win tonight. They got a lot of pressure. They got Mahomes uncomfortable. They just couldn't get to him. I had this defense getting to Mahomes 3 times tonight, and they didn't get home 1 time. There was a couple of times that they should have. Houston, like I said, he got loose 1 time, and he gets to Mahomes on the first opportunity. Why they didn't? I mean, they got to know James Houston is that guy. He's the dude. Like, you put him in at the last half of last season, all he did was make plays in big games. Why they held him out of this game for, with the limited amount of opportunities they were giving him, it just makes no sense to me. But I had Houston, Kaminsky, and Hutchinson all getting a sack tonight. They all played great. They all got phenomenal amount of pressure, but they were held all game long. I mean, let's just call it for what it is. There should have been a lot more yellow laundry on that field, a lot more. And for whatever reason, there wasn't. And I'm sure we're all going to analyze and pick it apart this week and post a lot of videos and make the NFL be aware that, this type of crap can't happen. I mean, even when the announcers, when they're saying it live on television that these guys are holding, they're false starting, consistently, and they're lined up in an illegal formation. I mean, at least 50% of the plays they were lined up in illegal formation. You do the math on that. That would have backed them up multiple times until Reed would have said, "Okay, you got to move up, stop doing that. You're going to get called for it." Probably would have only taken two or 3 calls, but even one of those calls could have kept a touchdown off the board for the Chiefs tonight, and it could have put the Lions in a much better situation. Hey, the backs were against it tonight, and they battled and they rallied, man, and that's what it's all about. Super proud of this Lions team. I got to give them, my claps, and I'm really excited to see what's going to come next. Well, let me jump into the chat and see who's with us tonight. All right, so first one up is let me call in from Tanner White. We don't have the call-in feature set up yet, but we will soon, I promise. Jeff Buckner, I didn't think I'd be saying this, but it's Goff for me. He led well. You could see it in the huddle. He just went out there and did the dang thing. Big cheers for everyone, though. I mean, like I said, I couldn't agree with you more. I think that Goff is definitely my number 2 for man of the night for the Lions. I just feel like Amon-Ra did so much early to get this team headed in the right direction, and then the Chiefs quickly changed their scheme. But man, I was really wrong about this Chiefs defense. Either the Lions had a bad night up front, and the offensive line was just not as good as what we expect them to be, and they just had a bad night, or somehow this Chief defense is a lot better than what we think. On paper, they shouldn't be. But what they did tonight and the way they were able to manhandle that offensive line, I hope that's, going to be the exception this season and not the rule for the Detroit Lions, because they got their butts kicked up front quite a bit. There should have been a lot more yards on the ground, and the Lions definitely should have been able to power the way, off the left side of the line, and they just seemed to kind of get away from it. How about Brian Branch? Maybe he should be my defensive player of the game. You're darn right he is. Pick 6. I called Brian to get a pick. I did not say that he'd get a pick 6, but I called Brian and CJ Gardner to both get interceptions. CJ Gardner-Johnson, he missed 3 opportunities tonight. He had 3 picks go through his hands tonight. And I don't know why he jumps on the ground holding his helmet like, oh gosh, what did I just do? It almost felt like, when I watched the play happen, that he didn't, he kind of gave up. Like, he didn't fully go after it. Like, he saw the ball coming, put his hands up, the ball hits his hands, and for whatever reason, he drops it or he lets it go. He should have had those balls. And if that's the way he's going to play this season, I expect CJ Gardner-Johnson to get a lot of interceptions. He's definitely around the ball. He's in the right place at the right time. He was out of place quite a bit tonight, too. He let up some big plays. And that's where this defense kind of really got off in the very beginning, too, is in the beginning of this game, there was a lot of blown coverages. And that's exactly why I wanted to see the Lions get into that 4-2-5 and play a cover 4 and in more of a zone defense to eliminate the opportunity of blown coverages. And right away we saw when they were in the 4-3 and they were playing man that there was a lot of blown coverages early. But that's why I did the research I did, and then that's what I expected the Lions to do. But I was wrong, of course. They had a different game plan. They were going to take it to them. The Lions had no qualms about lining up man to man, and showing what the Chiefs, showing the Chiefs what the Lions had. And I know this for a fact. There's going to be plenty of teams this season that the Lions are going to win the man to man game. And as this Lions secondary continues to gel, there's going to be a lot of opportunities for them to play well. Cameron Sutton's pass interference for 40-plus yards, I thought it was horse shit. Quite honestly, I didn't see where – I think it was Noah that he got the penalty on. I didn't see where he really interfered with that tight end at all. Or was it Torrey? I can't remember now. Or Tony. I apologize. At any rate, you know what I'm talking about. I did not see where that was pass interference. Yeah, he might have bumped him a little bit, but he also got his head around, and you're allowed to make a play for the ball, and that's what he was doing. So I think it was a gimme call. Thankfully, the Lions were able to battle back out of that and not allow a bunch of points. And that's where the defense really came into play tonight. When Dan Campbell went for it on that 1 4th and 2, and that's when Goff threw it into the hands of the defense, and they batted the ball down. That is the one play where I did not want Dan Campbell to go for it. In my opinion, and I put this out there, you are so close, right? You're getting towards the end of the game. You've got one of the best punters in the league, if not the best. I much would have rather have seen them punt the ball, maybe buries it down at the 10 or even the 15-yard line. Let your defense go to work. You gave them an extra 30 yards to work with. Thankfully, the defense came up big. And thankfully, the Chiefs' offense dropped a bunch of balls tonight. A bunch of wide open passes. That's what kept the Lions in the game tonight late. The Chiefs couldn't come up with the big plays. And they had them. Mahomes made the play. He made a perfect pass. And for whatever reason, their receivers are dropping balls left and right tonight. Jalen Reeves-Maybin, great play on 4th down. Great call by Dan Campbell. Gutsy call. No way did we ever expect it early. And the look on Andy Reid's face, I just started cracking up. The guy just couldn't do anything but smile and chuckle on the sideline when Dan Campbell pulls out a 4th down play on a fake punt call early. That's the Dan Campbell way right there. That's some gritty Motown football. And I hope it doesn't get the Lions in trouble because, I understand Dan's philosophy here, right? Dan Campbell, like I've said, and Brad Holmes is the other one. Are they the new Moneyball of the NFL? Because Dan is a firm believer that giving the ball back, via a punt, and then, let's say you only change the field position by 15, 20 yards. Is it worth it? Is there really that much of a difference between punting the ball, changing the field by 15 yards or so, versus going for it and maybe you don't get it? But if the odds are, stacked in your favor and you're winning them, 50% of the time, I think I would roll the dice myself too, more often than not. But it's definitely where we are on the field as to when I would do it personally. But that's why Dan's the coach. That's why Brad's the GM. And that's why I'm just a talking head here at whatever it is, midnight, 10 p.m. or a.m. now, 12:07 a.m. But, man, I got to give it up for the Lions tonight. Wonderful win. What a statement win. Like I predicted, if they win this game, they're not going to stop winning. I think these Lions are going to go on a run, and I would expect that run is going to be, 5-6 in a row potentially. I see the Ravens being the big test, and I think that's like week 8 or 9. I think the Ravens are going to be the big first test for these Detroit Lions. They have a very unique schedule set up where they have plenty of time off between games. And I think that's going to give this team just enough energy and juice to continue, getting ready for the next man up, the next game, and the next, just being ready to put it all out there like they did tonight. So I didn't have my co-host tonight. I don't have any guests on tonight. It's late, and I wanted to get into, congratulate all the Lions fans. We've been waiting a long time to be able to come away with such a statement win as this and celebrate it. The entire country, I mean, worldwide, all the Lions fans worldwide, even in the UK, have shown their appreciation for what the Lions did tonight. It's all over Twitter. It's like one of the most searched words right now is One Pride. And there's a reason for it. This is a One Pride family. And we're trying to create a One Pride, community with all of our followers and everybody that's joined our pages and our groups. And we thank you for it. Jonathan Fleming, he said, let's effing go. Absolutely. Phenomenal win, man. Phenomenal win. So that's it for me tonight. Amon-Ra is my player of the game on the offense. Brian Branch on the defense with the pick 6. I did pretty well on my predictions. I mean, I got damn close to Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporta. Brian Branch with the interception. Jack Campbell almost got a fumble, but this Lions team played their heart out, and what a great beginning to the season. NFL, you are now on notice. The Detroit Lions are coming, and this One Pride family is going to be right behind them, backing them up. We'll see you all in a few days. We'll be on Friday and Sunday this week. So light up the chats. I'm not going to be able to see them all tonight because we're broadcasting on like 7 different platforms. But we thank you all for joining us as always. If I didn't get to your chat, I apologize. Send us in some questions at info@rockdownpodcastnetwork.com. And because the Lions won, VillainSquad.store is going to have a massive sale starting tomorrow. So check it out, VillainSquad.store. Right now, our T-shirts, I think, are $39.95 and $60 for hoodies. I think we're going to do something crazy, maybe even half off or a buy one, get one deal or something like that. But they've been flying off the shelves. We got a lot of people buying them, so get yours, celebrate it, wear it the next game, the next time you go out and watch a Lions game, support us, support the channel, support the Detroit Lions. So that's all for me. One Pride, go Lions.
So, we look like we're ready. But this is day one. It's about the work. And I've said that from day one, and it'll always be the same message. It's about work. You got to go earn your right every year. It doesn't matter what the players are, the coaches, expectations, where you were, where you're going. We got to work, man.
Wants to throw it to Stewart. He caught it. He stole the first down. Oh, yes. The big man dives down to the 31-yard line. Oh, that is beautiful.
Let me tell you something. I love this team now. I got goosebumps, gentlemen. I love this team.
Fields looking, pressured, hit from behind, taken down. Aiden Hutchinson got him.
What do you think about the secondary?
Just look at the name, CJ Gardner-Johnson. You drafted Branch.
It started off with that huge hit on Beasley.
We call him things out. There's a big hit right away. And boom!
Touchdown, Detroit Lions. Amon-Ra St. Brown. Goff dropped it in the bucket that time.
We're in our window now to win.
Aaron Rodgers exits the NFC North as a loser.